How to elicit mind? I have already told you that, you know, you need to ask what, where, why, how, what circumstances. But to make it a little more clear, you know, understanding the mentals is like eating pani puri. Unfortunately, we cannot interact here, but how do we eat pani puri? Is first of all, we look at that puri. Okay, we have to put all these ingredients here. Now the question is, which part of this particular food item is we have to press on it so that it can break, so that we can put all these ingredients inside and then we can eat. Now it is not a rule that you have to press at the center. What you have to do is you have to look at this particular puri, or whatever name you call it, from all aspects, from above, down, sides, and you have to identify which part is the thinnest. And when you identify the thinnest part, you have to press there. That's where the puri can break without least resistance. Similarly, whenever you are taking the case of the patient, there is no rule as such that you have to ask this thing or that thing. But while you are taking the case, while the patient is talking about his physical problems, you have to keep your ears more alert and see which areas in the patient's life he is most sensitive to. And you have to note down those areas which are sensitive to. And when you identify a common pattern that, okay, yesterday a patient sent me, I'm struggling in her case since last 5 years to help her. She's better on an average level, but she's not so-called cured in her problem. She says, all my problems started when, we shifted from Pune to Bangalore. In that flight, I came across a man who met with an accident, and my husband was also coming by the same road where this particular man was coming, and I was happy that nothing happened to my husband. Around the same time, my brother got a heart attack. Around the same time, my daughter met with an accident, and the person who was around, he called me and said that thank God your daughter was saved, otherwise her head would have come under the tire of the truck. Around the same time, her sister-in-law developed cancer. Around the same time, her mother developed some problem. So at this point of time, this patient is experiencing so many problems. Now what is the commonality? Is something or the other, uh, the patient who is very attached to is happening, whether the husband, whether the daughter, the brother, the sister-in-law, or the mother. That means the weak point, or the point of most sensitivity for this particular patient, is where the loved ones are in danger. Now when you probe that particular aspect about her, then you will get the entry into her mental sphere. And that is what we need to identify when we are evaluating the mind aspect. It is like, taking a photograph. First of all, what we do is we first of all scan a particular area and see where is the light very good, where is the background going to be very good, and you identify that background. Once you identify that background, then you kind of focus on that particular area or part, and then you zoom in to make it finer, and then you have a click. Similarly, in the mental cases, you have to kind of scan the lifespan of the patient, identify which are the areas of sensitivity. Once you identify the areas of sensitivity, then you zoom. When you zoom means what? You have to ask what happened, how did it happen, what did you feel, what made you feel better, what made you feel worse, what were the physical symptoms associated at that time. The same 7 Qs which we discussed, or the 7 Ws that we discussed, have to be asked. But in the mind, you have to be sure that what you are asking. Suppose if the patient is having disappointment in love, and you ask about her problems with mother-in-law, now that will not lead you anywhere. because the boiling point for the patient is disappointment in love and not the issue which is going on with her mother. She is absolutely okay with it, but something which has happened, she had a friend with whom she did not do well or whatever, that is bothering. You ask that rather than something which is least important for the patient. So the identification of a mental phenomena or a mental problem which the patient is undergoing is the most important.